Business is booming. We're breaking down the top Seahawks free agent targets after clearing a lot of cap space over the last couple days, with Seattle moving on from Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams and Will Dissly. All of a sudden, the Seahawks have some money to work with, and the cap went up significantly, way higher than it was expected to be about a week or so ago. We'll go over some potential free agent targets for the Seahawks with free agency beginning next week, coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, I want to know, who's your favorite Seahawks free agent signing of all time? No wrong answers here. Just tell me who your favorite is. Who comes to mind when you think about your favorite Seahawks that they've brought in free agency? Way in the comment section, let us know what you think. We'll get started with today's show. With that business booming, cap space for the Seahawks is currently at $47 million right now. Now, obviously, a lot of that money is going to go away when the Seahawks end up signing their draft picks, and you want to keep some money around for potentially re-signing guys like Leonard Williams, potentially. On today's show, though, I want to look at free agents outside the organization, not guys that you're re-signing, but new players the Seahawks could specifically be looking at to bring in. Let's get started with the defensive tackle position. We find Christian Wilkins from the Miami Dolphins. I'll be honest, I was shocked that Wilkins did not get the franchise tag from Miami, that he is available for any team to sign like the Seattle Seahawks. And it's no secret, the Seahawks need all the help they can get when it comes to the defensive line and trying to find run stoppers. And when I look at Christian Wilkins, he's exactly what the Seahawks need in a two-way player that can dominate as both a run stopper and a pass rusher. The resume on Wilkins, this is somebody that I think has been underappreciated, undervalued across the National Football League, as he's coming off the best season of his career, 9 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries in 2023. He's been consistently available. He hasn't missed a single start in the last 3 seasons, the former first-round pick out of Clemson. And the numbers, we mentioned him having a career high in sacks this past year at 9, but you look at what he's done over the years, 98 tackles in 2022, 89 in 2021, just unbelievable for his position. Christian Wilkins is that guy, and he'd be great for what this Seahawks team needs defensively right now under Mike Macdonald. What do you guys think? Our pinned comment today, should the Seahawks sign Christian Wilkins? S for sign, P for pass. Weigh in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Next on the list is Patrick Queen, a linebacker from the Baltimore Ravens. It remains to be seen if the Seahawks are going to keep Jordan Brooks or Bobby Wagner. But if they decide to go a different direction, Patrick Queen would be one of the first phone calls, as he played under Mike Macdonald in Baltimore, and he excelled in Macdonald's defense. And you look at what he's done the last 2 seasons, specifically this past year when he was an all-pro caliber player. He's just now entering the prime of his career. This past season had a career high, 133 tackles. He's been consistently available as well, has not missed a game since 2020. The concern I have of sorts with Patrick Queen, where I would be hesitant to pay him compared to some of the other guys out there, is that his career really started to take off not just when Mike Macdonald showed up, but also when Roquan Smith showed up in Baltimore. And what I wonder is with Patrick Queen, the next place that he potentially goes, is he still going to be able to play at a high level without having Roquan Smith to his side here? You can see the numbers very solid the last 2 seasons of what he's been able to do, but how much of that was getting to play alongside Roquan Smith, that remains to be seen. That is my concern of potentially throwing him a ton of money out there with not having his partner in crime, Roquan Smith, arguably the best linebacker in football, next to him. So, what do you guys think? Should the Seahawks sign Patrick Queen? Y for yes, N for no. Why in the comment section, tell us what you think the Seahawks should bring him in or not. Let's stay on defense, and this is where we find Danielle Hunter from the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings opted not to franchise tag Danielle Hunter, making him a free agent. And Hunter is coming off arguably the best season of his entire NFL career this past year. And you look at this Seahawks pass rush, there was a lot of peaks and valleys throughout 2023. There were times this pass rush was outstanding and times where it was MIA, just nowhere to be found. They need a spark, and Danielle Hunter could be just that. And there isn't a better option out there when you're talking about pass rushers available for Seattle than Danielle Hunter. A 4-time Pro Bowler as recently as this year, had a career high of 16.5 sacks and 4 forced fumbles this past year for the former third-round pick out of LSU. And one thing about Danielle Hunter that I like, the story, the resilience. 2020, Danielle Hunter suffered a neck injury that could have very well ended his career. He could have not played another down of football after that. Instead, he came back in 2021, played in 7 games and had 6 sacks. And his numbers have only improved ever since. So this is a guy that has never given up, that's shown that resilience, that ability to be a top-notch football player in the National Football League, to fight through adversity. To me, it's an inspiring story. And he's got the heart of a Seahawk, I can tell you that right now. Next on the list, another name familiar to Mike Macdonald is Geno Stone of the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens not expected to bring Gino Stone back. The Seahawks now have a glaring need at the safety spot after moving on from Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams this week. You look at Gino Stone, and it kind of reminds me of what our former president once said: the forgotten men will be forgotten no longer. And that's the case with Geno Stone. He was kind of pushed to the side in Baltimore, was kind of forgotten about, despite how well of a season he had this past year. 7 interceptions, a career high that was second in the National Football League. But yet, all the talk was about Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams and these other guys. And Geno Stone never really got the full opportunity to flourish and play to his full talent level and potential. Think about this. As a backup, this guy had 7 interceptions last year in Mike Macdonald's system. Imagine if he comes to Seattle in a starting role where he is a everyday starter at the safety spot. What could he potentially do? Okay, I think you're looking at him going to a whole nother level, given that opportunity to compete and play on the big stage, and knowing this system in place, being able to teach the other guys there in Baltimore how this works. There was the Seattle defense. I think it's a natural fit for what the Seahawks need, what they're looking for, and a dynamic player for not a relatively high cost either. We got another name to get to before we wrap up, but I want to hear from you guys first. Who's a player the Seahawks should sign in free agency? We've gone over a few. Obviously, there's plenty more out there as well. Whether it's somebody we've talked about today or somebody else, weigh in the comment section. Let us know who you'd like to see in Seattle. Last on our list is New England Patriots offensive tackle Trent Brown. The Seahawks have tried not once, but at least twice to bring in Trent Brown previously, but to no avail. Now they have a chance again to get what they want and get Trent Brown. And the way that I would do this, if I'm John Schneider and Mike Macdonald and Ryan Grubb as well, I'm concerned about Abraham Lucas's knee holding up. To me, last year was a big red flag when it came to his knee and the back and forth of him trying to get healthy and all that. It was a real problem. I think the Seahawks are best off moving Abraham Lucas to guard, a position he played a little bit in college, bringing in Trent Brown to go play the right tackle spot, put Charles Cross at the left tackle spot, and all of a sudden you got a pretty dang good offensive line here that you can work with. Trent Brown was solid last year. Overall grade of 80, according to the nerds at Pro Football Focus. Allowed 3 sacks, only 2 penalties on the year. This would be great for Seattle and would be a game changer for the run game, for giving Geno a few extra seconds in the pass game. I think bringing in a guy like Trent Brown makes a ton of sense. So to recap our free agent targets with all this money we just found, of $47 million. And there will be more money coming. I can promise you that much with more cuts here in the coming days ahead. The list includes Christian Wilkins, defensive tackle from the Miami Dolphins. Patrick Queen, linebacker from the Baltimore Ravens. Danielle Hunter, edge rusher from the Minnesota Vikings. Geno Stone, safety from the Baltimore Ravens. And Trent Brown, offensive tackle from the New England Patriots. We've gone through 5 different positions here on today's show. What's the biggest need this offseason for Seattle? Weigh in the comments section. Tell us what you think, and we'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today.